The most famous knife in America began its story just north of Natchez. If you're a fan of the history of the Alamo in Texas, then you surely know the name Jim Bowie. He was a fierce fighter and a frontiersman who fought alongside Davy Crockett. Bowie was particularly well known for the enormous knife that he carried and his expertise using it. But did you know that the legend of that knife started right here in Mississippi? The year was 1827, and at the time, duels were a legal and a popular way of settling arguments. While we don't know the reason for this particular duel, we do know it involved two men from Natchez, Samuel Wells and Dr. Thomas Maddox. For the location of their duel, they chose a sandbar just north of Natchez, and then they chose their seconds. These were the men who were there to help make sure that the fight was fair. And for his second, Samuel Wells chose Jim Bowie. The morning of the duel, about 16 men stood on that sandbar north of Natchez, including several generals, majors, and colonels. So this was either a really big deal or a really slow weekend in Natchez. The two men stood back to back on the sandbar. They took their paces, they turned, they fired, and both missed. But something in that moment triggered a major reaction and caused a fight, not between the two duelists, but among the crowd. And all hell broke loose. The chaos began with a general and a colonel taking shots at each other, the general taking a fatal shot and falling to the ground. Bowie stepped in to defend the general, firing at the colonel but missing. In the process, he got hit twice, once in the chest and once in the thigh. At the same time, he also took two stab wounds from two brothers who were present on the sandbar, the Blanchards. But when you're on your way to becoming an American folk hero, 2 bullets and 2 knife wounds do not stop you. Bowie unsheathed that enormous, infamous knife and charged into the fray, eliminating one of the officers and wounding one of those brothers. The whole thing lasted less than 10 minutes, and it left 2 dead on that sandbar and 2 wounded, including Bowie. But word of the man with the enormous butcher knife and the incredible skill at handling it began to spread like wildfire. And thanks to that skirmish north of Natchez, soon Jim Bowie was a national name for his skills with a blade. And when frontiersmen visited their cutlers and their blacksmiths, they asked for a knife, just like Jim Bowie's.